Welcome back to the channel. I am surrounded by my arrival vans, as you can see, from that $9 billion company that went bust, and I have a hammer. Because I'm going to hit the side of the arrival vans rather hard with a lot of tools throughout this episode to see just how strong these panels are. Also, we're going to do a Q&A and answer all those questions that you've left me in the comments. And if you haven't done already, make sure you comment. Anyway, let's go. What happened to Arrival, that $9 billion company, and how the hell did I manage to get hold of these vans? So Arrival went into receivership last year, well, controlled receivership, meaning that actually they got bought and they still own, I don't quite know how that all works, but basically the product started getting sold off. Now, the company obviously was doing an awful lot of things. They were doing an Uber car, a race car, a van, a truck, or a bus, shall we say. So way too many things at once. And they had multiple locations all over the world. Oh yeah, and they were doing micro plants, so robots that build stuff in micro plants. Basically an awful lot. Probably way too much for one company to handle in one go. Maybe should have just focused on doing one thing really well, which is like the vans. Now, this is one of the first vans. There was one version before this, and then there's two versions after this. So they redesigned the vans like 3 or 4 times completely, none of the parts swap over, which is a good way of burning through a lot of cash. Now, I am no specialist. I would love to talk to someone that was really high up at Arrival and had the exact answers as to why it failed, so we could all learn from it, but unfortunately it did, which led me to get hold of this van and the other race van. Now, I only got hold of them because they defaulted on payments, from what I understand, from one of their warehouses, so the landlord took the warehouse back and started selling the products, which meant I managed to get a branded UPS van, which is nigh on impossible anywhere in the world, and it's electric and it's from Arrival. So very lucky to get hold of it. Now I need to try and get it back on the road. Why are both vans so different? Well, this is van number 3, which was built mainly for visuals to look pretty and just potter around to show what Arrival can do and what Arrival will be developing. This is van number 16. I have a feeling they built probably about 40, maybe more, test vehicles like this, where they would do all sorts of things, like pushing them to limits, taking them up steep hills, hot weather, cold weather testing. This one has the roll cage in the back, did have a cage to hold extra weight, and it's got holes in the sides, behind the door, just here, where I think they had a stabilizer coming out, so they were trying to do tip over testing to see if they could get the van to topple over on its side. Now, as you can see, the hazard lights are on, and I keep getting asked, why are the hazard lights on your Arrival van? The simple answer is, I have no idea. I've tried everything. I've tried looking through the software. I've tried turning things on and off. One thing I get all the time is, have you tried plugging in all the seat belts? Yes, I've plugged in all the seat belts, shut all the doors. And when I inspected further, I found that the seat belts weren't actually wired into anything, so they wouldn't have done anything. So then we went into the software and we deactivated the seat belts and the door warning to try and get these bloody lights to go out. And guess what? Ta-da! They have not, and it still does not bloody drive. So how do you power up an Arrival van where there's a little red switch in the back that you turn on, and then the system comes to life, and then under here there's a relatively low volume of switches. So you turn this big one here on, and then this one here, which is the DCU, you turn that one on, and that then allows the power to come on and bring the screen on, like so. You can't hear it because there was lots of clicking, so that's all the battery modules coming online and coming on, like basically took all their contactors online. And hopefully that's all 18 modules have come online, because then you get your percentage of charge here and your range. Now, big issue is, as we know, hazards are on. This software is very slow, so I've got a feeling it was mainly just to sort of give people the idea of how it would look and how it would operate. It's not actually fully functional. And if you do try and put it into gear, it just says no. But you can put it in neutral and take the handbrake off to get it to move. And then it makes this noise all the time, continuously, which is why I keep unplugging the noise box in the front of it. One really cool thing about this Arrival van, if I can ever get it on the road, is making it into a camper van, because you have obviously a lot of height with the roof light. You have these, which potentially could become bunk beds, but ideally you just rip them all out. And I do have a lot of spares in here. So we have a spare HVAC system, spare PDUs, spare controllers with the switches. I have a lot of lights, but I only have one spare set of the nice UPS lights. Lots of spare headlights, and then in here I have lots of spare inverters, as you can see. But it happens that these inverters aren't the same as the inverter on this van, which is very annoying. So how strong are the panels on the Arrival van? Well, I have a selection of tools here, including an angle grinder, and I have a spare panel. Now, this is a panel off of a UPS van, a spare one, and as you can see on the back of here, you can see the material it's made out of. So from what I understand, this is a resin, and it's basically a flexible material, not carbon fiber, but probably a plant-based material to make it better for the environment. And it has all these little clippy points. So normally there'd be little clips on here. So you could pop this onto the van and pop it off if you damaged one. This is a damaged one, and it is pretty flexible, if you can see. You can flex it an awful lot. And I have an angle grinder. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just show you that it does cut or mark with the angle grinder. Put my safety squints on. So as you can see, that has cut, and you can see some of the fibers coming out of it. And now it's time to hit it with a hammer. So I have a selection of hammers. I'm going to start with a rubber mallet, just to be a bit nice to it. As you can see, I'm hitting that as hard as I can. It doesn't damage, doesn't mark. Another nice hammer. I have a feeling this might do some damage. Ready? Now I've hit it quite a few times and it hasn't actually damaged it, which I'm quite surprised, to be honest. Now we go to the, whatever you call this, I don't know. Big hammer. I don't have a sledgehammer, so we'll go with this one. Let's see if I can make a hole. Wait a second, let's just compare it to a panel from a normal car. This does happen to be the back of a Tesla. Obviously there's a lot of people damaging these at the moment. So we're just gonna hit one of these and see what it does. As you can see, it didn't cope too well, did it? Right, that was not what I expected to happen. I'm hitting that as hard as I possibly can, and I mean as hard as I can. And if you look closely, it hasn't even cracked it or marked it. That is phenomenal. So there's one thing Arrival did right, it was these panels, because yeah, I'm even out of breath. So just phenomenal. That is so strong, way harder, way stronger than I ever thought it would be. And why are they not making more vehicles out of this stuff? Why would you ever drive an Arrival van on the road when you cannot get the parts for it? Well, as you've seen, the panels are absolutely indestructible. But the big worry is the sheer size of this windscreen. Because as anyone knows, if you go on the motorway, this is going to get destroyed. But not to worry, I have a backup plan. When we went to pick the vans up from auctions, we noticed there were some spare windscreens. So we actually have 2 pairs of spare side window glass, and I have 1, 2, 3 spare windscreens. So I should be pretty good, I think, if we do damage a windscreen in the future. Now, you've all watched me try to fix this van, and I've been starting to get to the point where I'm like, I can't fix it. What am I going to do? Well, plan is get the logbook so it's able to go on the road as an electric van, and then probably put a Tesla system in it. Because by putting a Tesla system in this, I know it will be reliable. I know I can drive it regularly. I know I can supercharge it, which is the key thing. You want a reliable van that you can actually use instead of just a lead weight that cannot be used. And it does mean if I can get this on the roads, the rival engineers that work their ass off to build these things can actually see one driving on the road. Yes, it hasn't got an Arrival system in it, but surely that's better than it never going on the road at all. Let me know in the comments what you think about that. Common question I get is, well, can't you just talk to some of the Arrival engineers and get them to fix the van? Well, the issue is that this is an older one, not one of the newer ones, so the software wasn't that great. And as you've seen, I've got into the software, but it doesn't tell me about any error codes. And they made so many changes throughout the iterations that trying to get the right bits to fit this van is nigh on impossible, even with all the spares I have. Plus, they're all signed into very strict NDAs. So they're not technically allowed to talk to me without getting in trouble. So as you can see, that's been a bit of an issue. I have had some odd bits of help from people here and there, but we just haven't managed to get it on the road. So it's time to rebuild it with a different drivetrain. So this is the race van, or what I was going to build as the race van. But the issue I have is now this is stripped down, it still weighs over 2 bloody ton. It is so heavy that it's never going to be that quick if I do turn it into a race van. So I think my key focus is going to be getting that UPS van on the road and driving with the Tesla system in, and probably just parking this up and using it for spare parts long term. Maybe make an office out of it. I don't know. I'm sure we can do something cool with it. Maybe send me some ideas. Do I think Arrival could have been successful long term and actually made it? I think if they'd only built, say, the van only or the bus only, yes, probably. I mean, look at Rivian. They've actually got multiple vehicles on the road driving for Amazon and starting to allow that out to other companies now. And it's proven to be pretty damn successful. One big problem though, that you guys know I have, is the battery. I still think even if they got to production, they would have had massive issues with those batteries long term. The fact there was 18 or more in parallel, every single one of them had its own master BMS system. I think it's an awful lot to ask for that to stay reliable long term with so many points of failure. So I think if they'd gone with an off-the-shelf battery or more of a module form factor battery that are mass produced in China into these and then done the other stuff themselves, maybe they may have survived. But maybe not. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you haven't done already, hit that subscribe button and the thumbs up one and share it with your friends so more and more people can see what we're doing with these old arrival vans.